Previously, on Seeking Sister Wife.
Garrick says that they've had a hiccup trying to get married. There have been 4 failed attempts. He says that a guy there searched him out and found out he was trying to build a polygamous family, to which I took to mean the government employee Googled Garrick and found out about the show.
It's a train wreck. It's a train wreck. But maybe they can turn it around.
Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name's Angie. This is Tim. Morty's over here. And today we are recapping from an oversized Jenga tower.
This show is so boring. That's the best we got.
One of the couples was in Rio de Janeiro, and you'd think that there'd be something interesting that happened there.
Like a interesting location, but this is the best we had.
That or Naeem's pink drink.
Yes, untouched.
This isn't really an announcement, more of an observation. There was a trailer for MILF Manor at the beginning of the episode. Just to be clear, we're not recapping that show.
No effing way.
But I remember when it came on, Tim said he wished he could take all of humanity and shove them into a cannon and blast that into the sun.
Humanity has failed us yet again.
Well, thankfully, Tim is less inflammatory about Seeking Sister Wife, because that show is a hot mess.
The MILF one, right? Okay.
Yes, because they tried to pump up views for that show by saying that there's going to be a new twist, which, spoiler alert, it's going to be like a son-father duo dating all of these older women.
Okay, let's just keep going on. I don't want to have to think about more effed up stuff. Morty, what do you want?
Let's get into the episode. Seeking Sister Wife, Season 5, Episode 10. Seeking a Deeper Understanding.
What's that supposed to mean?
I guess it applies to Danielle and Nathalia. So, let's begin with the Merrifields. We are still in good old Rio de Janeiro. The 3 adults bandy about the unfortunate news of Garrick being unable to obtain that sweet, sweet marriage license.
Just terrible, terrible news that Danielle cannot deliver without the biggest grin on her face.
Oh, she was extremely joyous at the fact that the wedding was called off.
Yeah, it's so obvious. She thinks she's being deceptive. I mean, she is being deceptive. I'm saying that she thinks that she's being so clever, but it's so obvious.
She thinks that she's such a great actress. Or maybe she doesn't. Maybe she just doesn't care.
She comes off as real crazy.
So they're at the condo sitting all together again, and Garrick goes, "Sad wedding, baby happy."
Angie was asking me, isn't this terrible if you're trying to learn a language to talk like this? And I said, it's terrible when you're trying to learn another language, unless you want that other person to learn the language of talking like an idiot.
I heard that when you have children, you shouldn't talk to them in baby speak, where you have poor syntax and grammar. You want to talk in slow and complete sentences.
Yeah, anyway. I'm so tired of these losers. These Merrifields.
Despite this turn of events, they still have plans to do stuff together.
Stuff.
Danielle, Garrick, and Nathalia are going down to a local clinic to get an ultrasound of the baby.
Am I having flashbacks to first season of Sister Wives?
Yes, they did this with Robin's pregnancies.
Ugh.
Very riveting content. Garrick then says that he had no plans to have more children with Danielle. Upon hearing this, Danielle makes a smirk and almost does a sing-song voice, telling Nathalia, "Surprise!" And throughout all of this, Nathalia just has an expressionless face. I don't know if she's doing a poker face or she's just genuinely not having it with these two.
Yeah, she's had the same kind of face since the beginning of the season. Just always unimpressed face.
I can't tell if she's genuinely pouting or if she is just annoyed that all of this was sprung on her and she just needs time to take it in.
I kind of get the impression that she's kind of like Garrick in that she only has one expression installed. What I think is going on is she has an inner monologue where she's thinking, what the hell's going on? What is going on between these two? What am I getting into? Is this a bad idea? Is this a good idea? Why is Danielle mad? What's up with Garrick's eyes? She's constantly thinking, and that's her thinking face that she's making.
Because you and I had different outlooks on Nathalia's behavior, I really did think she was genuinely annoyed and wished that this didn't happen.
I got that impression too, but mostly I'm more convinced that she's trying to navigate situations rather than reacting purely emotional in this situation. She seems the type of person who is trying to think themselves out of a problem rather than reacting to the problem emotionally.
I just think she was pissed.
I mean, yeah.
Garrick expresses that he at least empathizes with Nathalia. She is very depressed and devastated at the wedding being called off. On top of that, the delusional man reveals that another reason for her disappointment was because he and Nathalia were actively trying to conceive a child. But that gift instead went to the wife she thought he wasn't in lust with anymore.
They wanted to have a baby after they've only physically been around each other for like a month. That sounds absolutely insane.
Yeah, that was his MO with Roberta. He was trying to impregnate her before they left months at a time.
Just, hey, how do you do? Be pregnant. Just weird.
Anyways, they go, whoops. Danielle interjects again. It seems nothing goes as planned sometimes. Yeah, she just cannot contain her joy as the camera makes sure to get a shot of her hand on Garrick's leg.
Yeah, she's stroking him just like Garrick would stroke
Nathalia?
Nathalia, yeah.
It's like, this is my property. You ain't getting rid of me.
His Holy Spirit's inside of my brain right now.
Oh, God. Okay. Nathalia is visibly annoyed, saying she is mentally tired and is having a bad time.
That's me watching this show.
I'm sorry. The Brazilian woman rolls her eyes, much the same way Tim does.
Oh, I wasn't even doing it on purpose.
We then get a confessional of Danielle lying to the cameras. I really did hope that Nathalia would be pregnant. I know she thinks I did this on purpose, but hopefully seeing the sonogram will help bring us closer together. That's one of the beautiful things about plural marriage, is being able to rub it in.
Oh my gosh. This is so crazy to me. Why would anyone feel closer to someone after looking at a sonogram of the baby they had? What was it, the line from Sister Wives? It's the physical
manifestation of a physical relationship.
Yes. Also, fun fact, nobody else really cares about the sonograms of other people's babies. Because to everybody else, it just looks like
The same one.
the same. I can just imagine Nathalia standing around thinking, oh, wow, this is amazing.
No, she, again, was not impressed. The three head off to Life Clinic. Nathalia wistfully tells us that another reason for her disappointment is because Garrick never had an opportunity to discuss the news in depth to her, so she is still adapting.
Garrick would have known for a while.
I forgot, was Nathalia given this news when Danielle entered through their apartment?
I mean, maybe.
Or did Garrick tell Nathalia after his conversation with Danielle on the phone?
I'm sure they probably waited to have the camera crew down there so that they could have it on TV.
That would be blindsiding Nathalia.
I mean, that's cynical, but also almost certainly the case.
They all head off to one of the examination rooms. My impression of this appointment, it was a sweet moment. Danielle was crying when she saw her baby daughter for the first time on the machine. They do say how old the fetus is, which is 11 weeks.
I thought it was weird that Garrick questions the radiologist for a little bit, where he says, that's approximately 11 weeks, right?
I think he wanted a specific age.
Maybe 10 weeks, maybe?
Maybe he was trying to calculate when was the day Danielle deceived him or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. He was trying to figure out on which of these days
Danielle claimed to not be ovulating. I don't know. I know it's wrong to speculate on women's fertility, so I don't want to get into the weeds of that. It was just weird where Garrick was trying to suggest a date.
Yeah, my impression, he was thinking, which one of these days did she lie to me?
I could be totally off base, but it was strange how Garrick had that question. Throughout the appointment, Nathalia has the most stank-eye look. I guess she's feeling what Danielle's feeling, the idea that you're the third wheel.
I still think that's the face she's always made. She's always had a stink-eye look.
Well, if you can't trust her expression, she does say that you're trying to feel whole and happy for this new event coming in your life. But she does admit that this is not really the best news she wanted to hear.
Yes. Also, it's kind of really effed up to use a child as a pawn in your weird marriage scheme.
In your chess game? Just to be clear, we hate all of these people.
Also, Garrick and Danielle deserve each other.
Yeah, they just make each other worse.
She enables him.
They return to the condo. They are busily planning the, I guess, remnants of what would have been the bridal shower party. Clearly, the wedding is called off, so it's just going to be a regular shindig consisting of Nathalia's friends.
It'll be a marriage mourning party.
As Garrick would like to call it, it's a pity party of all these people coming together to feel sorry for them.
And be on TV.
Nathalia does explain some backstory of how she relayed to her friends the news that she was going to be marrying a polygamist. Needless to say, they were dumbfounded, but eventually they came around to it, which I don't know if they had. That's why they pretty much bit their tongue the entire time this whole scene was being filmed, because we didn't hear from anyone except for the bilingual friend.
Yeah, that's pretty part of the course with these people who are doing Garrick interviews.
Where they had to keep quiet about Garrick's decisions.
It's weird.
Nathalia explains to them why the wedding is called off. The judge found out that Garrick is still actively cohabitating with Danielle.
Simple Google search could
tell you that?
Could tell you that, yeah.
Needless to say, Nathalia is upset since there was a ton of expenses that went to waste, including the purchase of her dress and shoes, booking the makeup artists and hairstylists, and the entire venue their families would gather at. The conversation then turns into somewhat of a vent session where Nathalia is verbalizing all of her frustrations to her friends because she can do that, since Garrick and Danielle can't understand her in real time. She expresses that she wasn't excited to see their sonogram. In fact, she was being resentful, but tried to push down the negativity in an effort to not ruin their moment.
Yes.
The friend does try to not accurately express how emotional Nathalia was. She does try to be a bit more neutral.
Yeah, she's trying to smooth it all out a bit. There's this one line with Garrick where Garrick says, and then everything got so emotional and stuff-wise. This guy's an idiot.
He doesn't really know how to deal with emotions. Again, because he is a robot. The friend, I think her name was Lauren, translates what Nathalia says. She doesn't completely translate all of it. She just says that Natalia's hurt because there was no attempt to allay her fears or make her more at ease about the pregnancy.
Just standard avoidance.
I do feel sorry for Nathalia, but then I remember she shouldn't expect emotional support from Garrick. Because I'm just thinking about the time when Dannielle was talking to her husband when he was cooking, and she was telling him Nathalia kept ignoring her text messages, but Nathalia would still message Garrick. Garrick would almost gaslight Dannielle, saying that her perceptions were false and that she was crazy. No empathy at all. Nathalia is now the one getting ignored. So get used to that, girl. Because if this is the man you want to call your husband, this kind of behavior is just going to get worse with 3 additional women.
I think that Garrick's plan is that he's going to outsource all of the emotional support of his wives to other wives.
Yeah, that's what he says. My favorite aspect of polygamy is the sisterhood. That way, when I'm gone with one of the wives, the other 3 can comfort the one that's in despair.
Mm-hmm. They can all clean after my mess like I'm a dirty, dirty little toddler.
Garrick just leaves messes behind everywhere he goes. Danielle gives her 2 cents, saying that what she saw from her husband did technically count as support. Or at least more support than what Danielle's ever gotten in the past 5 years.
Is this the part where Danielle is trying to convince all of
the friends in Nathalia that Garrick is still upstanding?
Is that this part?
Yes.
Because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You can tell she's really trying to gain favor, as Cody would say.
I'm still convinced that Dannielle and Garrick are perfect for each other. And Garrick wouldn't do any of these things if it wasn't for the fact that Dannielle is pushing him along and cheering him on.
I don't think Dannielle and Garrick are ever going to find someone crazy enough to put up with them the way that they put up with each other. Dannielle says that Garrick's support is in the form of him becoming emotional and crying, so that's the most you can expect from him, Nathalia.
I still hesitate to call it crying.
Yeah, it's just leaking water from
leaking
his
coolant
eyeballs.
From his eyes. There's another line where he says that the sister wives help him to be a better man. And my thought was,
dude, if you want to be a better man, do that on your own.
That, or he's a robot trying to be a better man. Help me be better man. I leak coolant from my eyes.
Garrick just doesn't seem to be an emotionally intelligent person. Danielle, who is being extremely smug right now, then gets on her soapbox and describes how this dynamic will proceed. Us wives need to be understanding that Garrick is going to have his time divided. Maybe Nathalia just doesn't get that.
Pick me.
This is something Nathalia can't accept, since she complains that his time will be more split with more women. Garrick tries to explain the usual polygamy perks, again, that if you can't get the support you need from me, Nathalia, there's always going to be sisters, confidants that will always be around to confide in when I'm not there.
They'll be there to gaslight you when I'm not around to do it for you.
One of the friends chimes in, asking Dannielle if she is even that for Nathalia, a confidant.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that the friend pointed that out, because I can't imagine being friends with someone as manipulative as Dannielle. So in response to the friends saying, are you even a confidant for Nathalia? Danielle says, the ball is in Nathalia's court. Then Nathalia says she can't automatically be besties with Danielle since relationships need to evolve and grow in stages, aka it needs to be slow going.
I think it sounds like it's no-going.
I get where Nathalia is coming from, where there are some people that need time to warm up to you. I think that was the dynamic with Mary and Janelle, but obviously they never warmed up to each other because, like Danielle and Nathalia, their personalities were also night and day. They were clashing. I have friends that I have been close to within the first day of meeting them, and we're still really good friends to this day.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't say that all friendships work like that, where it has to be a slow trek.
The whole thing sounds stupid and dumb. Why on earth are they doing this stupid polygamy thing anyway?
Because Garrick wants it. God demands Garrick do it. And by God.
Yes, we're talking about his penis. I'm sorry, I was just in my mind imagining a voice yelling at Garrick from his penis. You shall do this. What's that, God? There shall be 5 wives? Oh, God. Seriously? Yes! 5 wives! Yes.
That might be how it happens.
Okay, good. I thought you were about to say that might be our next animation. I was going to put a hard no.
Animating a
Hard
penis.
no. Hard no. That's not acceptable.
Okay, let's keep moving.
Yes! That's the voice of the God penis.
We get to a strange part in the discussion where Danielle is playing the victim, where she almost accuses Nathalia of being closed off from her. It feels like she's tattling on Nathalia to her friends so that they can force Nathalia to be close to Danielle.
That's exactly what it is.
So, guilt trips.
Mm-hmm.
What I want in every confidant.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird. Nathalia is actively rolling her eyes as Danielle is voicing all of these concerns. Both women, in my opinion, are acting in bad faith. Danielle is manipulative to coerce someone into being her friend, and Nathalia is coming off a little bit contemptuous because she complains about being ignored, but then she aggressively ignores Danielle when she tries to communicate with her. I really dislike these two and the man they want to be with.
Yep. Thinking like a sock puppet. Yes!
Stop!
Yes!
The translator friend, Lorena, is doing her best to articulate the issues of both sides. And the two women, Danielle and Nathalia, for the most part have come to a consensus. They have very disparate personalities, and it will take time for fondness to grow.
I don't think relationships work like that.
Or it takes time for fondness to grow?
Most of the time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was talking to a family member who had the impression that friendships form slow. That's why you should give them grace when they don't reach out to you.
It just seems manipulative.
Yeah. So, stop putting effort in that relationship. Garrick then reverts back to android in malfunctioning mode, where again, his eyes leak coolant. He sobs that it's so hard to see his wives not getting along, because his favorite part of plural marriage is the sisterhood aspect. I'm sure 99% of people will say that your favorite part is more on the banging aspect, and not the sisterhood part.
I mean, it's the banging sisterhood part.
How on earth does Garrick even take himself seriously? Lorena comments that maybe it was for the best that the wedding was delayed so that trust can build up as they look for more ways to legally marry Nathalia.
Doubt.
The two sisters hug and make up.
This scene perfectly encapsulates how I feel about Nathalia and Danielle.
Danielle goes back on that gesture, saying Nathalia definitely doesn't understand what it takes to be a sister wife.
You know, they cry and they say, oh, we understand each other. Oh, yes. I'm so sorry. We need to work together. That's right. That's right. And then it cuts to Dannielle just saying, she doesn't get me. And it's, oh my gosh.
I think Danielle completely invalidated this whole interaction. Danielle says that she herself has had to adjust on what it felt like to live monogamously to polygamously. And that statement irked me since, no, Danielle, you haven't been polygamous in your entire life. The closest you've been to a sister wife was with Roberta, who was using you guys for money. Where is this expert wisdom you have on plural marriage? Because your idea of living it is getting the wives to leave by creating tension. This is why I think Danielle is manipulative. Danielle is so powerless in her own marriage, she can't tell Garrick what to do. And so the only way she can get all these women to leave is to distract Garrick with another wife, while the second wife is in a long-distance relationship with them.
Danielle is just as complicit in this as Garrick is.
And all this time, Danielle's doing her snide smile.
She does that thing where she smiles with her mouth open.
The faux bridal shower ends, and it is now the last day of Garrick's and Danielle's stay. It also happens to coincide with Garrick's birthday, which makes this late October 2022. They go to a restaurant along the Copacabana to celebrate both events. They talk about the ongoing struggles. Nathalia has had some time to process everything, and she does commit to trying to be more open as a sister wife. She even thinks the baby will help them grow closer as a unit. She's probably just saying that in order to part ways on a good note.
Garrick and Nathalia are looking at each other wistfully, while Danielle has just got the biggest, dumbest smile on her face the whole time.
Nathalia does acknowledge that the long-distance relationship will be hard on her, but tolerable for them since they've done this before with Roberta.
Or the fact that they're super close to each other physically.
Yes. Garrick sets forth the plan moving forward and that they will have to obtain the K1 90-day fiancé visa. He actually said 90-day fiancé.
Angie's loudly exclaimed, they're gonna do a crossover!
I think he's just trying to double dip, trying to pitch to TLC to cast him on that show too.
I wouldn't put it past him.
The K1 visa was not the preferable option because this route means it'll be at least a year and a half for Nathalia to be with them. Which, for the second time, I will say, that's probably going to be rejected as well on the same basis that Garrick is still trying to be a polygamist.
I'm sure if the Brazilian government could find out about it, that the U.S. government would do their due diligence to discover it as well.
Yeah, because he's complaining it's going to take a year and a half. I'm thinking you should be grateful if it happens at all.
Which is a sentiment that we'll touch later on in the episode.
They end their dinner with a fireworks cake, the same kind that Cody and Mary were presented with on their 20th anniversary. Garrick asks permission from his wife if he can have his last night in Rio with Nathalia, to which she acquiesces. Maybe he thinks he can make one more baby before he goes.
Make another attempt. That was super awkward, the way that they ended it, with a suggestion that Nathalia and Garrick are trying to get it on some more.
He says his goodbyes to Nathalia. I think he tried to say a sentence in Portuguese, but they didn't translate it for some reason.
Because it was probably nonsensical.
I tried to translate it with a translator app, but it was indecipherable. It just immediately translated Natalia's sentence after it. So I don't know what Garrick was trying to say.
Garrick did the whole baby talk thing again. You, me, Danny, airport.
Vamos sing.
Rapido, Visa K1. You, me, Danny, happy airport. Juba jub dooba juba jubu. And she just looks at him like he's an idiot. Because he is.
So now we segue to the second family of the episode. Keep in mind there were only 3 this time, which usually means they had more material to garner from each storyline, because there's usually 4. Let's talk about Nyla and Naeem.
We get another episode of them talking about polygamy, not actually being polygamy.
Yeah, that's their whole MO. Both of them are about to go on a highly anticipated lunch date with Jameelah and a friend named Johari. They explain that Johari is somewhat of a polygamist herself, since she is in a relationship with a couple.
And by somewhat, we mean not at all.
Yes, we'll get into that. Nyla hopes this conversation will help change her mother-in-law's mind about this lifestyle. And I'm thinking, why do they care so much about her opinion?
Is this about Naeem? Is this about Nyla? It just doesn't make any sense.
I remember when the Salahuddins were introduced and they had their first lunch with her, Naeem would say that he needs a bunch of therapy for different things, but being a polygamist is not one of them. I think he tried to hint that he needs therapy because he has her for a mother. I'm thinking, if you don't like your mom so much, why do you keep having these interactions with her?
Seriously.
You claim you don't care what she says, but it also seems like you're trying to change her mind.
Just cut the umbilical cord already?
I'm not trying to tell people, go no contact if it's too hard. I'm saying that...
You should live your life regardless of what somebody else thinks?
Yeah. Naeem hopes that this open discussion will help his mom realize that polygamy is about unity, family, and income.
He did it. He said the quiet part out loud.
Yeah, we don't want to take care of any freeloading woman. She needs to contribute an income.
She needs to pull her weight.
That's what Nyla said in the last episode when she was talking to Shamir, where they were tired of finding these women that only want to be taken care of. I guess Nyla wants something similar to the Davises, where the women that they're bringing in also have to work outside the home.
Yes, what they're trying to create is...
A commune?
Yes, is a commune, but with sexy time. Mandatory sexy time commune. Oh my gosh, they've been saying it from the beginning. They wanted to build community.
That's literally what it meant.
So obvious. How did we miss it?
Well, we always joke that all of these families want to create their own cult.
This one's just based on economics.
Johari then introduces herself as someone the Salahuddins met through an online poly group. I'm guessing this is the same Facebook group that Nyla met Shamir and Mike through?
Maybe.
Maybe she has separate ones. Secular and Muslim. Okay, so Johari walks in through their front door. She's a tall, bald, African-American woman. She specifies that she is a polyamorous, just like the barber from Texas.
Yes, a much more socially acceptable
and healthy version of polygamy.
So no wonder she's such a huge fan of it.
Yeah, she's not the same plural lifestyle that Nyla and Naeem are espousing.
Mm-hmm.
Johari is in love with a married couple and considers them her boyfriend and girlfriend, whilst they consider her their girlfriend. She explains that she is bisexual and biromantic, in that she has a sexual relationship with the women as well, something Nyla is not envisioning for herself. Before this lunch date happened with Jameelah, I'm thinking Nyla and Naeem's situation is not the same as Johari's, mainly because polyamory is a more equitable situation than polygamy, but they're trying to help Jameelah move past the germy part of it.
I don't know what they're trying to accomplish.
They arrive to Garlic, as Naeem likes to pronounce it.
It just looks like garlic.
And they're awaiting Jadzillah's arrival. She arrives in a baller outfit, leather bell-bottoms and a polka-dotted top.
I mean, she's going to be on TV.
She might as well look
fancy.
Jameelah sits at their table and asks if Johari is one of their potential sister wives. They deny that.
Much to her relief.
Because the mother has issues with Nyla and Naeem constantly blindsiding her with these new people that they purport are going to be part of their lives.
I'd be so over them by now if I was their mother.
They do this with the knowledge that she's not going to have a positive reaction.
But let's do it anyway.
The exchange goes over.
Exactly how you'd expect.
Mm-hmm. They introduce Jahari as a fellow poly woman who has her own couple. Jadzilla rolls her eyes. Jahari tries to give her perspective in that she cherishes the non-sexual aspects of her relationships because she just loves the individuals themselves. She does emphasize that she is polyamorous and not polygamist. Jameelah just can't get over the swapping of germs detail. In the end, the mother-in-law does think Naeem and Nyla are being selfish because they do have children. Oh, which, by the way, the Salahuddins have 4 children. And the only reason I know that is because someone last week brought up that Nyla wrote a book. Sarcasm actually had excerpts from it where she does preface the book saying she is a mother of 4 children, which, by the way, the book is about her struggles living with bipolar disorder.
Interpret that as you will.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, back to the lunch meeting. Naeem has a problem that his mother is criticizing him for being selfish. I mean, it is self-centered to want to marry more women for the goal of them bolstering your ego, aka give you more compliments, as Nyla said was their motives in the first episode.
Which after meeting Jameelah, that might be why he's got poor self-esteem, but seriously, why do they need her opinion on any of this? If she has as little of an impact on their lives as they claim she does, then what do they care?
Mm-hmm. Because she already said from day one that she's not interested in being open to change or tolerating how her son and daughter choose to live. And I just think Nyla and Naeem just have to accept that. Throughout all of this, I just felt so bad for Jahari, who's having to witness these 3 just argue with one another.
Yeah, it gets pretty petty.
Jahari was just like, I just came to tell you how much I love my partners.
I'm just a super positive cinnamon roll, and awkwardly sits there as...
A family feud is ongoing.
At least you got free drinks out of it.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I felt bad for whoever has to try to add closed captions to this.
Because people just kept on talking over each other.
Naeem just zoned out. It was really awkward.
Jameelah tries to end the discussion saying that they can do whatever the hell they want to do as long as they leave Harriet, which is Nyla and Naeem's 14-year-old daughter, out of it. Naeem does divulge that Harriet and her grandmother aren't close, so it's weird how Jameelah is almost using their daughter as some sort of excuse to shame Nyla and Naeem.
I agree with Jameelah that their whole polygamous thing is stupid, but I also think that they're right, and Jameelah is just...
moving the goalpost.
She's grasping at straws here, trying to find a thing that's going to convince them.
Then Nyla pushes it a bit too far, where she outright tells Jameelah that she's making an out of herself, to which Jameelah says that is disrespectful. Needless to say, the conversation is quickly spiraling out of control. Jadzilla gets up and leaves before she threatens to smack Nyla across the face. The 2 women then start to argue so loudly that the producer has to step in and see if it'll dissolve into something more serious.
Or filmable.
Because I don't think they want any physical altercations to occur.
Or anything that they'll be held liable for.
That doesn't happen because Jameelah leaves the restaurant. I again felt really bad for Jahari to have been in the middle of this.
Her spirit was uncrushed as she helped herself to some of the remaining drinks.
Of what I assume was Naeem's pink cocktail. I thought that was funny. She was thinking, this is at least $16 right here. You're not going to finish it?
I mean, I'll finish it. Her positive spirit will not be deterred.
While they were having the fight, you brought up a very good point that relayed our thoughts on this whole ethical quandary.
So I made a comment while we were watching them snipe at each other, and I said, they keep arguing about this whole polygamy thing as if it's a real possibility that they're ever going to be polygamists, because no woman is ever going to want to marry these losers.
It's like the equivalent of me saying, oh, when I become a billionaire, I want to deface the moon. And then you tell me, well, that's just a terrible idea. Why would you ever want to do that? Don't deface the moon. But I'm thinking normal people would think, who cares if you're going to deface the moon? You need to get over the first obstacle of being a billionaire.
Which isn't going to happen. So why are we talking about this?
So, like, why do you care if the children are going to be impacted by this? You first need to get over the very tall hurdle that a woman is going to stay with you guys.
Yeah.
So now we transition into the last family, which are the Davises.
And the only, to this date, successful polygamists.
The Davises are the only successful polygamists.
And even then, their batting record isn't great.
April, Jennifer, and Danielle are meeting at Pindustry in order to meet a possible sister wife, Jasmine. They met the seemingly spunky and cute woman through a dating app. She enters through the outdoor gate wearing a chartreuse dress. She immediately hugs all of the women. Jasmine gets right to the point as to why she's seeking the poly life. She wants to make some mom friends and create a stable environment for her son.
Mm-hmm.
Which I took to mean she just wants free childcare.
Also, she wanted us all to know that she's a Scorpio.
Because her necklace said Scorpio.
Or maybe she's not a Scorpio, but she had a Scorpio necklace.
That's always a possibility, too. The four ladies sit and proceed to play Jenga. They try to make the game a conversational tool as well.
You mean a interview tool?
It seems incredibly uncomfortable. The fact that 3 people are grilling you.
Yes.
For each block that is taken out, a question is going to be asked. So here's what we learned from this game. Jennifer was attracted to the lifestyle since it provided her with a safe environment where she can thrive.
Not sure what that means.
Danielle is also open to having kids of her own. She is used to being around many since she herself grew up with many siblings. She says that the hardest thing about being in this family is that one needs to not be complacent. So I took that to mean your opinions are quickly going to be steamrolled, so you might as well just shut up and live with whatever the majority wants.
You know, if you don't think you're really good at going against a group of other people when expressing your opinion, maybe you don't belong in a plural family.
Yes, obviously. Back to the Jenga game. Jasmine is interested in polygamy but has never dove headfirst into it. She has an 11-year-old son named Adrian. She isn't opposed to the idea of having more children. She enjoyed her pregnancy and would be looking forward to having more.
She doesn't say that she's willing to have children. She basically says,
I'll populate the next generation if you want.
This woman is all red flags because it's super clear that she's just saying what they want to hear. She prepared for this interview, is what I'm saying.
It's like, I know I'm going to be filming for Seeking Sister Wife. What would put me in the good graces of these kinds of weirdos?
Polygamists are always super excited about that. It seems a crazy thing for a person to say unless they knew that polygamy people always wanted lots of babies.
Anyways, Jasmine is fine with sharing a giant bed. She is okay with the woman being outside the house and the man staying at home. She likens society to a wolf pack environment where there's an alpha wolf and his partner. But she is more used to a lion pride situation since that's how she grew up. Her mother was a breadwinner who made more than her stay-at-home dad, who worked nights but was around his children during the day. I wouldn't say that her upbringing is the same as the Davises, because clearly Nick doesn't have a night job.
I mean, I think he's got a job that he's doing at night, if you know what I mean. But yes, you're right. It's not a perfect match.
Because it seems that Jasmine's father was a very, very busy man. He was at home to take care of the kids during the day and then working a job in the evening, and somehow finding the time to have at least 8 hours of sleep. This is not the same situation Nick is in.
No, not at all.
Jasmine then pulls a Nyla, purporting that there is nothing that would ever make her jealous. She says, I'm pretty mellow.
Totally.
This makes Danielle suspicious since she believes Jasmine is being too agreeable in her answers, which she labels as a red flag. The Jenga tower falls, concluding their line of questioning.
I kind of think they just edited it to fall right after she said the bit about the red flag for dramatic effect. TLC has shown us that they're more than willing to pull that crap with us.
I mean, they did it in last week's preview, where they made it seem that Jasmine was for the alpha male lifestyle, even though she's for the lion pride lifestyle. The editing team does feel that they need to edit in order to create drama, but overall it's more misleading and confusing than dramatic. For once, April says something right where she agrees that Jasmine is being too much of a pick-me, in that she might be a bit dishonest because she gave all the ideal answers during the game. Back at home, Nick is playing with Vera in a small enclosed ball pit.
And one of his fancy shirts.
Yeah, one of his fly pimp shirts. He is awaiting his wife's arrival and news of their date with Jasmine. They give the details. Jasmine has never been in a poly relationship before, but she has grown up with the dynamic of the man being at home and the woman working, and she wants that for herself, which, again, her father was at home and also at work.
And very possibly
sleep deprived.
Yeah.
But they perceive that as one hurdle is out of the way. I can't tell if Dannielle is lying because she is being what she accused Jasmine of being, which is agreeable to a fault, because Dannielle is telling everyone that she wants to give it a chance whilst taking things slow. But in her interview, she reiterates the fact that she isn't someone to voice her concerns. She typically gets peer pressured to go with the flow.
It's painful to see it happen in real time.
But Nick appears unperturbed. He claims that he definitely doesn't want Dannielle to move out again, or worse, leave their family for good.
Just time out. Imagine doing something and saying out loud, let alone thinking it, this might very well cause a member of my family to leave me as a consequence of my own actions. I sure hope that doesn't happen, and then proceed to do it anyway.
Yeah, he was a little bit too unconcerned about the possibility of a valued family member leaving them forever.
Maybe you didn't know that they would leave forever, or you didn't realize that was a possibility, or maybe something like that, but what sane person would be in a situation where they know that that is a real possibility and then they just barrel in anyway? Personally, I would pull back and ask myself, is this a risk I'm really willing to make?
Yes.
I mean, for them, yes. For them, yes. And again, we don't know why. What is going on?
Yeah, it's annoying because it's like you're risking everything. For what?
Dunno. Nebulous concepts like community and
growing the love
or family. At some point, you gotta do a risk assessment. Some pros and some cons.
That would display a level of thinking that Nick doesn't have, apparently.
Maybe he hasn't gotten that far on Wikipedia yet.
Okay, so that is the end of the episode.
Merrifields took up most of this episode as we see Dannielle gleefully rub in Nathalia's face the fact that she's got something in her womb. Then we see the Salahuddins recruit a nice polyamorous lady to help them convince Jameelah that they're not stupid and fail. Then we see the Davises prepare the path for Dannielle to leave the family in the form of Jasmine.
So thank you for watching it all the way through. Here's Morty, and we will see you in the next episode.
Goodbye, Morty.